ever get that feeling? You know that feeling like you're living in some kind of spy movie?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We're diving deep into something today that, well, honestly, it sounds like it's straight out of Hollywood, but this is the real deal, and it affects all of us. Okay, so we're talking about a cyber attack. They're calling it Salt Typhoon.
Catchy name, right.
Right. But not so catchy when you hear what it's about. Attacking the internet? Like the core of the internet?
The foundation, yeah.
Okay, so the source we're looking at today, it's this news report, really grabbed our attention. And it's about how this attack, it went after these big internet providers. We're talking at&t, Verizon. These are big names.
Absolutely, household names.
And I know what you might be thinking. Okay, companies get hacked. This is news. But, and this is the big but, this wasn't just some data breach, right? This was different.
This is true. It's different because, and this is where it gets kind of scary, they weren't after your credit card info or passwords directly.
Okay, so what were they after them?
Think of it this way. Imagine the internet is like a giant postal service.
Okay, I'm with you.
So you've got your mail, your packages, everything moving around. These hackers, they went after the postal service itself, the system that directs everything.
The roads, the trucks, the whole thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
The infrastructure. So it's not just about stealing what's in the packages. It's about controlling where those packages go. Maybe even changing what's inside them.
So instead of stealing your identity, they're, spying on everything everyone does online?
Potentially. Or even worse, disrupting entire networks. You know, Think about like if all of a sudden your bank transactions, your emails, everything just went haywire.
Chaos.
Exactly.
The report we were reading, it mentioned something about this attack. It was like targeting how the U.S. government wiretaps stuff.
Yeah, that's a whole other layer to this.
I mean, come on. That sounds like a spy movie.
It really does. And it kind of shows you just how high the stakes are in this whole world of like intelligence gathering and espionage. One theory is they were trying to like reverse engineer how the U.S. government does its thing, figure out their methods.
And that information, well, I can only imagine it's got to be pretty valuable, especially if another country got their hands on it.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about potential national security risks here.
And speaking of other countries, the report, it points to China being behind all of this. What can you tell us about that?
So attribution, figuring out who's really behind a cyber attack, it's tough. It's really, really difficult.
How so?
It's like, imagine trying to solve a puzzle, but half the pieces are missing. And the pieces you do have, they keep changing shape.
Frustrating.
Very. It takes a ton of technical evidence, intelligence gathering, connecting the dots. Complicated. And while this report points to China, we have to be careful about jumping to conclusions.
Right, because we've seen how this can go. Accusations flying back and forth, denials.
Right.
It can get messy.
Exactly. It's a sensitive topic.
Definitely. But this whole Salt Typhoon thing, that's a pretty intense name.
It really is, isn't it? I mean, it sounds more like a summer blockbuster than a cyber attack.
So, is there any significance to the name Salt Typhoon?
Honestly, we don't know for sure yet. Could be a code name. Maybe it's meant to send a message. Maybe it's part of a bigger plan, a whole series of attacks. We just don't have all the pieces yet.
This is all a little unsettling, to be honest. Like, I get that governments might be the main targets here, but what about regular people? Our listeners, how does this impact them?
That's the thing about the internet, right? We're all connected. So even if you're not some like high-level government official, your data, it's still valuable. And this attack, it just goes to show how vulnerable we all are in this digital world.
It really makes you think.
It does. Think about all the things you do online. Banking, shopping, connecting with friends. Imagine someone having the ability to just like watch all of that, or worse, manipulate it.
Okay, yeah, that's not a good feeling. So what can people do, like our listeners? What steps can they take to be safer online with all this going on?
The usual advice holds true, but it's more important than ever. Strong passwords, be careful what you click on, all that. VPN's not a bad idea either, especially using public Wi-Fi. Every little bit helps.
It's kind of wild to think, right? The more connected we get, the more we have to worry about this kind of stuff. It really makes you appreciate that whole balance, between security and just living your life. It's something we all got to figure out as we move forward.